Hello friends! Today's story is about the button boy named Arjun. This story teaches us that you don't have to match everyone else to matter. Be proud of your own colors. Arjun lived in a very small town on the edge of the town. It was the kind of house people passed by without noticing. The roof leaked when it rained, the windows stuck shut, but inside, it was full of warmth and stories. His mother worked as a tailor. She stitched clothes for others, could hardly afford new ones for her own son. So Arjun wore a faded old school uniform with buttons of all shapes and colors once. His mother had saved in an old tin box. Arjun loved those buttons. To him, they weren't mismatched, they were magical. Each button had a story. His grandmother once told him this red one came from a wedding suit, the gold one, a royal costume, and this one from your papa's old shirt. When Arjun ran his fingers over them, it felt like touching the past. His school was a different story. Every morning, Arjun walked into the classroom, trying to keep his head down. His uniform looked different, his shoes were scruffed, and by looking at those buttons, someone says, "Hey, look! It's Rainbow Shirt!" Someone else laughingly says, "What's tomorrow? Polka dot pants?" Arjun tried to ignore them, but laughter has sharp edges. Only one classmate, Mira, ever spoke to him kindly. She said those buttons are actually really cool, like her shirt tells a story. It was a small moment, but to Arjun, it was like finding a silver button in a pile of gray ones. One morning, his teacher, Miss Lena, stood in front of the class, beaming. She mentioned that we were having a school-wide art competition. The theme is, "Who are you?" Use any material like paint, cloth, wood, anything. The winner gets a beautiful paint set and their artwork gets displayed in the school hallway. The class buzzed with excitement. Mira turned to Arjun. "You should enter. You're creative." Arjun shrugged. He didn't have paints, or glitter, or canvases. But that night, he stared at the tin box of buttons. And slowly, an idea began to grow. Arjun stayed up late. He found a piece of old cloth from his mother's scrap pile. He began sewing. He didn't know if it would be good enough. He just knew it would be a blue button for the sky, a yellow one for the sun, tiny green ones for trees, a brown one for their small house, and in the center, a little boy wearing a rainbow button shirt. Smiling proudly, it took him 3 nights. His fingers were sore, but when he finished, he smiled. This was his story, without a single word. On the day of competition, the school gym was filled with paintings and sculptures and shiny, glittery displays. Arjun placed his cloth artwork carefully on a table. A few kids giggled. "Is that made of shirt buttons? Ew, it's all fabric. Who sews in an art contest?" Arjun took a step back. He almost wished he could disappear. Mira came and stood beside him. Mira said, "It's amazing, Arjun, it's real. That's what art is." The judges came, and with them Mrs. Fernandez. The principal, they looked at every piece, stopped, took notes, and moved on. But when Miss Fernandez saw Arjun's work, she paused. She leaned in. Miss Fernandez asked who made this. Arjun stepped forward nervously. Miss Fernandez smilingly said, "This is beautiful. It's not just art, it's truth." She turned to the room and said, "Creativity isn't about the fanciest tools. It's about sharing who you really are." At assembly the next day, Miss Lena announced the winner. "And the first prize goes to Arjun!" The crowd gasped. Then slowly, they clapped. And then louder. Some kids even smiled at him. Mira gave him a high five. A boy awkwardly said, "Hey, your shirt's kind of cool, actually." Arjun's artwork now hung in the school hallway. Every day, kids walked past it and stared. Some even stopped to ask him about the buttons. Arjun told them each one is from a different story like all of us. From that day on, Arjun didn't stop wearing his button shirt. In fact, he added more. Each new button wasn't just a decoration, it was his badge of courage. So, my dear friends, being different isn't wrong. It's what makes you special. Tell your story proudly!